Um, so I'm just going to take from where the last speaker spoke. As you see there, I'm looking at legal academia specifically, and AI, especially the colleges of law in the Gulf region. I'm using the three states: Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. I'm specifically looking at the issues of legal writing in the era of AI. And this is the second part. The first part of this research has been published already in GRUR. So that one dealt with Nigeria, the legal curriculum or law school curriculum as it pertains to the digital era. But here we are. Here, the background of this research as it concerns the Gulf State is because of my experience of teaching around the Gulf States now for 4 years, and series of teaching and surveys I've done. Now, if you look at the slide there, you will realize that a lot of research has been done, quantitative and qualitative, and the one that really came to me was the one published by recently that more than half of UK undergrads they use AI, and I can confirm that because even from my experience, this is what happens. Especially, it's different in the law schools. The second, quotation there is actually part of my survey I did with a colleague, and that was the response I got. In fact, there are a series of responses like that. This is just a part of it I cited there, that Grammarly is allowed to be used in writing essay. And when I showed my results of my AI check, it was 99 point something percent. I said, this cannot be law students, okay? Or we shouldn't encourage this in law. Why? Because as lawyers or law students, we are guided by two layered rules, regulations. The first one is the principal laws of the state, of the country we live in. And almost all the GCC states have similar rules when it concerns originality and copyright. So AI, I'm using copyright as the principal law that guides. There are other laws that guides AI, but when we are talking of legal writing, so we are looking at literary works. Okay, so now almost all these countries have the baseline. Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, they have the same baseline that your work has to be original, and also it should be yours, not copying from someone. So then the second layer of when it governs legal works, literary works, is the issue of the professional code of ethics or professional responsibilities. All these countries, including most of the common law and even continental law countries, our conduct, our writing are also ruled, regulated by these codes, and you'll see that the common denominators of these codes of rules of professional conduct is that the rules of candor, the rules of honesty. So the implication I saw is that if you rely too much on ChatGPT or any of the generative programs, LLMs, either generative or predictive, or even whatever assistive, you have to be very careful. And most of the students are not aware of these issues, that it's not just about the ethical rules of jurisprudence. I'll go back to it's not just the plagiarism issues that you should be concerned with. You should also be concerned with the law itself, the basic law that your work should not infringe. So you might say, okay, I have cited my source. Law demands more than citation. Law demands that you should actually, take something that is yours, apart from the narrow limits of fair use or fair dealing, depending on the jurisdiction you are in, the exemptions, you should be very careful as legal scholars, because we are not supposed to be stenographers. We are not supposed to be reporters. We are supposed to, our voices should be heard in what we write. It should be our own voice. Of course, you can't reinvent the wheel, but also when you are writing, you have to let people know that it is your critical analytic output. So the reliance on machines is tempting. I'm not saying that we should not use AI, but we should at least have it at the back of our minds that the law students should be trained on how to. Because when, like I did this survey, when almost 89% of the work I checked, there were 98 point something AI assisted. So, I mean, and that's the problem. And the funny thing is that, not that they are lying, most of them were not lying. When you call them in and say, hey, what system did you use? Oh, I used Grammarly. I went to this. They say, oh, well, if you did that, you should not just copy it and put it and send it to me or send it to any other person, because that's not really your work. And again, it's more serious. In some jurisdictions, they are taking it serious now, because you might even face, assuming now, let's put a scenario I read recently, I think in New York here. You prepare a brief and file in court, and you relied on ChatGPT, this case you cited, and the judge read your work and everything was off cue. The case, that's a misconduct. It might end you up in a disciplinary proceedings, and your birth certificate might be at risk. So those are legal writing is very fundamental, not just in the Gulf states, in almost all the global South I have worked in. But now we need to create that balance where our students are proficient in their writing, plus proficient in how they're going to use AI. Now, there is something I also notice about secondary language. It seems that complicates issues. In most of the Gulf states, Arabic is their primary language. So I think at this stage, I know Harvard has a program now in one of the schools there. We should, what I call, mainstream Arabic, meaning we should invest money in using the LMMs, training them in Arabic. So, well, English was not the traditional language of law. It's just now the predominant, perhaps. But see, so most of these LLMs are being trained in what? In English. So we should find a way where we can mine these concepts, these definitions in Arabic, so that at least when the machines are trained, when the data set should come from Arabic, the original Arabic. So the machines will be intelligent enough to see when they are working on their Arabic data, they can transcribe it properly into any other language they want to. And that also will give our students the proficiency of being good bilingual attorneys or scholars, which, in economic terms, it gives you advantage in terms of looking for a job or advising clients. Now, I've noticed that the Gulf states are doing a lot. In fact, they are investing a lot. SAIDA, I think Dr. Sarah spoke about SAIDA. So the Gulf states are really doing, I think they're actually at the edge of investing in infrastructures in promoting AI. I mean, there's a lot of money going in there. Saudi Arabia is at the top of investment. They have a lot of specific government institutions. Saudi has SAIDA. They have Research Development Innovation Authority, and they also have the Saudi Arabia Intellectual Property Authority. Qatar has the Artificial Intelligence Committee, and UAE has the Council of Artificial Intelligence, and those institutions, those infrastructures are really, really impactful. They are, apart from the visibility, they are bringing and democratizing AI in the region. They are also doing a lot in terms of educating the schools. But there's a disconnect with the law schools, because the law schools seems not to, the colleges of law, I use them interchangeably. College of Law, law school, they're the same thing. Most of these Gulf states, they call them College of Law. So the law school have to do more. They have to do more in terms of hiring subject matter experts. There are some law schools, in my research, the faculty teaching legal writing were non-lawyers. And I'm like, how do you teach a core subject like law when you are, first of all, you've not ever published any article before, even blog, in a law publication. There are systems to law publications. There are methods to our madness. Huh? There are methods of analysis and citations. You have to know a scholar, you have to know a blue book, you have to know MLA. We have our methods. APA is the standard method but that is not really called law publication. So those are the things that without a subject matter expert, it becomes difficult. And again, the subject matter expert must be aware of the current digital literacy, legal literacy. So, and we have a lot of scholars now in that field. So I hope, and another thing before I conclude, is that there is an agency of sustainable development in proficiency and expertise. Law schools in the Gulf states, if they are good, if it's a form of marketing. I mean, there are a lot of cities in this world, they are known for their schools. We have Boston, we have London, we have Rome. These are because people want to come there, Trinity College in Dublin. So you will also attract tourism. You know, legal tourism, the economy will boom. Everybody remember 2018, was it 2008 when we had the economic meltdown? Boston City did not experience it. And research said that it was because of the housing market there, the solid nature of their housing market, and which was really attributed to the structures like the educational institutions and all there in the city. So you see, there's also a multiplier effect. If you have good schools in your city, people are bound to come. So in conclusion, you could see that if you look at the laws very well, there's not much difference. All the Gulf states, their laws they converge. There are a little bit of divergences from Saudi to Qatar. Saudi, in my book, say there has almost all the doctrinal and jurisprudential meaning or requirements for originality. They have the sweat of the brow, they have the author's intellectual creation, they have the fierce doctrine, selective creativity, they have it all there. And I diverge a little bit from Dr. Sarah when he said that the laws in Saudi Arabia, I think the laws in Saudi Arabia are ready for AI. Because if you look at Article 1 of both the law, copyright law, and Article 1 of the regulations itself, it actually mentions, and I published on that, it's the first law I saw that actually recognized scientific creativity. That's the term they used. So that means, I don't know what they were thinking, because when they did that, AI was not in a boom, somebody had that vision to put it there. So apparently, they just need to do more in terms of, because Saudi, they are not litigious like most of the society, so the courts, the jurists have not made pronouncement yet on the law. So maybe more of writing, academia, we should write more. The laws are there, it's just to apply it to real life, I think is where we are now. So we mainstream Arabic language or legal writing, and also we make sure that subject matter experts are hired in the colleges of law. Thank you.